Okay, so now that we've got the footage in the browser window, what we want to do is to open it up in the viewer and play it back before we start creating any edit points. So what we want to make sure to do is to click over here to the left of the name. You'll notice if I click on the name, it allows me to rename the file, which is not what I want to do. I want to open it up. So I click just to the left on the icon, double click it, and it'll open up in the viewer window. Okay, so now that it's open in the viewer window, you'll notice that there are these controls at the base of the window that allow me, among other things, to play back the footage. So I can hit that button, the play button, once, and hit it again to stop. Okay, now that's all very fine, but the keyboard shortcut that I think is the most handy in this particular case for this feature is the spacebar. So that's typical of most video editing software out there. Spacebar means play, hit spacebar again, that means stop. So let's do that from now on. There are a few other ways of starting and stopping video that may become handy in different contexts, but we'll wait to talk about those till later. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to set in and out points. Now I just want to call your attention to this little area just above the playback controls here. It's somewhere between the picture and the playback controls, and you'll notice that there's a vertical line that's moving across the screen. So this is kind of a mini timeline. The line itself here, this vertical line, is the playhead. The playhead indicates the frame on which the playback feature is basically parked. Okay? So as the video plays through, the playhead, of course, is moving from left to right. Okay, so playhead is going to indicate the frame on which we want to create an edit point. So we're going to create two edit points that will allow us to essentially see a loop. Now, a true loop is essentially a video that apparently has no beginning or ending point. Okay, so we want to create the illusion that this horse is running infinitely. That's the exercise. Okay, so now the way we're going to do this, just logically, is we're going to try to create an endpoint. Now think this through. We're going to try to create an endpoint that follows the end point, so that when the playback function repeats, the frame at the end will precede the one at the beginning. Now this may sound complicated, but watch what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this playhead forward to the point just before the back hoof of the horse hits the ground. Okay? A couple of frames back. And I'm going to create the out point. Okay, the out point meaning the ending point. To do that, I hit the O key. Now, this will mark the clip with an icon that indicates out point. You'll notice, and you'll begin to recognize it, it's a triangle pointing to the left with a line just to the left. That is the icon for out point. Now, next I'm going to drag the playhead to the frame where the hoof of the horse lands, right here. Okay, and then I'm going to hit the I on the keypad for in point. So O is out point, I is in point. And then rather than playing through the regular play control, I'm going to go just to the left, and this will allow me to play in between the in and out points. So I'm going to click there, and let's just see if the motion of the horse is relatively fluid. And I'd say it is. Now just compare that to playing back the entire clip. In other words, the full clip beyond the in and the out points. Now you'll notice that there's a little kind of glitch, right, where the clip starts over again. Whereas when I play between the in and the out points, I've got a perfect loop. Okay, so again, I for in point, O for out point. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this edited clip and I'm going to bring it into the timeline. Now the timeline is over here. This is essentially the window in which we assemble clips over time. So there are a few different ways to do it. I could drag the clip directly into the timeline, or to be a little bit more precise, when the playhead is right at the front, if I hit this button here, insert, it'll bring into the timeline whatever is open in the viewer, okay? And it'll bring in just that portion that I've excerpted between the in and the out points. So if I play this back, you'll notice I've got the perfect loop. Make sense? Okay, maybe if you look at that line in this old footage, the one that's running, vertically, you see a little jump. But in terms of the fluidity, the motion of the horse, it looks pretty good. Okay. Now, just like in a word processing program, you can copy and paste video material. So what I'm going to do here in the timeline is I'm basically going to copy, and again, keyboard shortcut is just as what it would be in word processing software such as Microsoft Word. It's Command or Apple C. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to park the playhead at the very end of the clip, and then I'm going to paste the same clip that I've just copied. Now you'll notice it's duplicated. I could just do the keyboard shortcut as well. Paste is Apple V. So I'm just going to do that over and over again. And you'll notice I hit the space bar. There's another playhead running through the timeline here. And that's just playing back the temporal assemblage of this repeated clip. Okay, so I'd like you to practice with these various features of the software and attempt to create a perfect loop with this horse footage.